Hello. Thank you for joining me regarding how to establish a nurse practitioner supervision. It's interesting. There are many ways by which an integrated practice can either succeed or fail. But sometimes it's not so much about the marketing or the development or the protocols or the systems or patient flow, what have you. Sometimes it's simply by a mistake, things which were done, and unfortunately I've seen that happen, because the nurse practitioner or the physician assistant, sometimes the person who is a mid-level practitioner was not supervised properly. This is a very important, critical aspect of your practice. If you have someone that you're supervising, and this goes by all supervision in every state, you have to make sure that this is done properly. So I'm going to give you some ideas. I don't mean to sound like I am the board, not any board by any stretch of the imagination, and certainly I do not represent any type of legal entity or legal background, and I do not recommend that you use this information as the basis for information by which you operate your clinic or establish supervision. I just want to bring up to your attention some of the concepts and things that you should be looking for. Then you need to go to the proper authorities and certainly to the people who are responsible in your state. Don't go somewhere else, but in your state, to find out exactly how to establish that supervision properly. There are many firms that do this. There are boards, and there are all kinds of rules that are written state and federal as to what you're allowed to do. So here's some ideas, perhaps, that might be of benefit to you, that I think would be extremely important to review. But again, remember, this is all about you making sure that you pay attention not to my details, but to the details that are pertinent to your office. So some ideas here. You should first and foremost review the individual nurse practitioner state laws. You could do that by the website. And go to the website and check it out. Make sure that you thoroughly read and understand this information. Don't just cruise over it. Just cruising over that and say, oh, let me just review this. Oh, it's okay. It's fine. Don't take the nurse practitioner's word either. Don't do anything that would jeopardize your license, your office, or possibly your clinic or your family. Think about that. This is important. There are rules. There are states that make certain requirements that have to be followed, whatever the case may be, wherever you are. Make sure you check it. And don't take somebody else's word for it. Read it. You can go to the website and find out the scope of practice and see what you're allowed, what you're not allowed, what is good, what is not, what's to be attended to, what is not. Those things are important. Review also with the nurse practitioner. What is the scope of practice as far as you understand it? Try to see if that matches what the internet says. Try to see if that matches what the manual says. Try to see if that matches what your attorney says. Make sure you thoroughly go through that information before you write a list of all the duties and things that they're supposed to do. Now, typically, there most likely will be a collaborative physician and sometimes duties and responsibilities that the two have together. Review that as well. Understand it. Educate yourself in this process. Don't just take it for granted. This is your clinic. Someone called me today and said, in my state, they don't need a collaborative physician. No, that may be true. Did you read that? Or did someone tell you that? And if so, how did you find out? If the attorney tells you this, can you tell me where you found it? Can you email it to me? Can I see it? Can I read it? Can I thoroughly investigate it? You don't want to be at the end of the road by you having made a mistake and now having to explain yourself and why you did some of the things you shouldn't have done. Yes, it's your attorney, and sure, it's your accountant, and yes, it's your spouse, and yes, it's your friend, whoever the people are that are guiding you or sharing information with. Make sure you check on that. There are responsibilities and sometimes supervisory, direct or indirect, that have to be checked. Make sure you understand them. Review also, if there is such a thing in your state, the contract that exists between them, the nurse practitioner or the physician's assistant, with the collaborative physician. If there is such a contract, understand the process, understand the clauses. I'm always amazed when some of the people say, I'm not an attorney, I don't know. Just read it, understand it, And if you don't, call your attorney or person who wrote it and say, can you explain that to me? Can you explain the process? Can you explain what this clause means? Educate yourself. Understand it. I have some clients that have grown exponentially. They went from $600,000-$700,000 a year to $6-7 million a year. This is not just anymore a small little office with 12-15 new patients per month and collecting $25,000 a month. These are offices that are collecting sometimes $1 million a month. Over 120 employees. That's a lot of people. It becomes an enterprise, becomes a corporation with multiple providers. Some of my physicians are so powerful. They have multiple locations. They are huge. Think about that. Would it make sense that they should be well aware and knowledgeable in what the contract's provisions are? Absolutely. They should hire an attorney, listen to what he has to say, communicate with all the proper parties involved, and if they need to contact the board, whatever it is. Listen to the advice of the professional components of that practice, the professional people who have the knowledge and the understanding. Remember, this video is not about telling you what to do. It's telling you for the things that you should not overlook. Maybe also you should create a review and of all the charts that this collaborative physician and nurse practitioner is doing. Have a review committee. Figure out from some aspects as to what does the review committee says, or on a timely basis, do these records have to be checked? Do they have to be followed? Do they need to be countersigned? If the nurse practitioner can do these things on their own, to what aspect? How far does this go? What can they do? The broadest scope of practice is the medical license. We know that. Other licenses are somewhat either restricted or different. You need to know those differences so that you're not caught. Even physicians, by the way, in their own offices, there are certain things that they cannot do. There are certain drugs that they cannot prescribe because they demand a higher type of supervisory, license. Certain things that private practices do that hospitals are different, where the hospitals can do certain things. Surgery centers that do certain things that clinics can't do. There's all kinds of rules out there. This is your clinic. This is your way of broadening the scope of practice and bringing so much more to the patient, but you got to do it properly. You have to do it not only ethically in a way what is necessary and based on good, evaluation of your patient's treatment and medical necessity, but you also have to do it legally so that it makes sense. All it takes is one mistake sometimes, and it escalates to areas that you wish you never had to worry about. And believe me, this is not what I wish for you. Some of these problems can be costly, and they could not only take you down, they can take your family on a ride you wish you never had. So take the approach of caution. Not overdo caution. Caution. Be cautious about what you do. Be responsible and be reasonable. Contact the proper authorities, all the ones that you need, all the proper legal firms that have the steps that can answer those legal questions, the accounting firms that can answer those questions, the coding people that are certified. Contact all these people. It'll cost a little bit of money, that's true, and it will take a little bit of time, yes, but that's just part of the foundation. Imagine if you're building this beautiful home, gorgeous house, and the contractor would come to you and say, we have to have an engineer because the foundation of this tremendous building is going to need extra reinforcement. And you say, no, I'm not spending extra money. Let's just go ahead and build it. We'll be fine. Can you imagine that? Now we're a couple of years into this. The project is finished, and you have this gorgeous mansion. And then one day, someone runs upstairs, and the foundation crumbles to the ground, and God forbid, causes unsurmounted damage. What a disaster. What a problem. What an issue. And why? Just because you weren't conscientious enough at the time of the building of this mansion, of this edifice, to make sure that the foundation was strong enough that it'll be able to hold all of that. Don't make that mistake. It will cost you, and you will regret it. But if you pay the time and pay the fees and hire the right people and make sure that things are done properly, those mistakes won't happen. You'll be covered. It doesn't mean the building will not fall. You could still have an issue, but at least you're well prepared and you'll minimize the damage to the least amount. So you can't control everything, but you can try to control as much as possible, and that's the difference. So I wish you all the best. Of course, as always, I wish you all the best to you and look forward for hearing good news above and beyond in everything that you do. God bless you. Thank you very much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell to get my latest update.